Welcome, welcome. This is your boy Jazan Azari, and we are back with a more extended version of Cupcake Chats. Today, I am answering questions in a segment that I call Ask the Azarian. And if you have a question that you want me to ask, you can always shoot me a text with the word ask to 404 737 2822, and maybe I'll answer your question on another episode. But let me get into today's questions. I put out a poll on Facebook with my number the other day, and I had some very similar questions pop up, and three of them actually are as followed. Why can guys do what they want? Then when the tables are turned, now it's a different story. Well, that question, what can I say? Men feel like they can do whatever they want. And sadly, that is not fair. That is not right. But that is just how the world has operated for so long. And when people try to challenge that authority, it becomes an issue. Like, if a woman wants to do something a man does, let's just say one of the very hard ones for people to swallow over the decades was a woman doing a man's job when it comes to work. Like, there were never as many females in business back then as there are today. Like, back then, you were the secretary or the assistant. Like, you were never the boss, the man holding the meetings, meeting the clients. No, they felt like a woman's place was always next to a man, not equal with a man. And I'm kind of very glad that's changed over the last, I'll say, the last decade. It's changed a lot. Um because men don't have all the answers, and most of the women in my field of public relations, they do the damn thing like better than men, better than me. And you know what? That's just a skill that some women possess that men don't, and it is multitasking. Like, it's something men can try to do, but women just naturally do it better. And when it comes to tables turning, there are just things that women do better. Like, whether it's them organizing and executing plans, or when it is in a household and the husband or whatever, wants dinner. Like, women come home from work, cook a meal, take care of the kids, do all this other stuff. But the moment they ask their spouse, their partner, their husband, whatever, what it is that they want to do so they can, like, release some stress off of themselves, it becomes an issue. And sometimes it stems from money, but mainly it stems from control and power. And all three of those, they go hand in hand. And when a man feels threatened, it's a wrap. Like, they will try to gang up on the woman or try to belittle her. Like, and I hate that. I see it all the time. You know what? And I interject myself in, like, hey, this ain't what we're gonna do today. Like, you gonna treat her with some respect. Like, she does the same job that you do, even better, and you pay her less, which is really an issue too. Like, women do all this stuff and still get paid less. Like, it's really a joke. It's really crazy. But yeah, sadly, when the tables are turned on women, things just don't fall in their favor. And I encourage other women and men that are listening to this, like, when you see a woman putting in the work. Congratulate her. If you can help put her in a better position, do it. Cause like the more women that can put others in positions, and that includes other women too, because some women like to be the only woman in the room. Like, no, like get that sisterhood going, you know, try to have each other's backs, put your differences aside. That's one thing women just haven't mastered yet. Like it always comes down to a little bit of cattiness at the end of the day sometimes when too many women are involved. Like team up, boss up, be all queens, do what you got to do and just show that women can just do it all because you actually really do it all. But I have another question that was very popular as well in the poll, and it was, can a woman say too little when trying to learn vulnerability? Well, yes and no. Because when you're trying to be vulnerable in a situation, depending on what situation it is, you don't want to over speak what it is that you're trying to, be vulnerable to. But in the same breath, you want to set some type of guidelines so people don't take that vulnerability as weakness and try to use it against you or hurt you. So when it comes to that, like speak your piece, but don't over explain it in detail. Like give us a gist of what it is about and inch on at your own pace. Like you don't need to be jumping out the gate being vulnerable in any type of situation. God knows from 0 to 60 because that's not going to end well. And then that's going to make the next time you're placed in a situation or asked to be or want to be vulnerable even harder. And you don't want to put that type of strain on you or the next time you have to be vulnerable because being vulnerable is not easy. It may seem easy, but it is not because opening up to different perspectives, situations can be hard because everybody has a background story with something. And that determines, when a person is ready, especially to give a part of themselves to the world in a way that, you can't take it back. So, on that note, yeah, you move at your own pace, but don't give too much in the beginning, but give enough to, show like, hey, this is progress and let me move at my own pace. Let's get this going. And, as time goes by and, you show me that, hey, this is, a safe place, then you can get more out of that situation. And finally, for my last question, um, I see this one a lot too, even outside of this poll. Why do men just want to have sex? Sadly, men have two heads, if you know what I mean. Um, Sex is not on everybody's mind, but when you're in a particular age range, I will say, from the teen years to like, your mid 30s, maybe. Um, s- Sex is just always on men's minds because our culture has always sexualized things. And when it comes to men and women, or just men in general, like, it's easier for some, sadly, to think things through a sexual approach. And that is not good. That is why the whole Me Too movement happened. Like, but no, some men just don't have an off switch, and sadly, that doesn't always get built into all men. Some men just think about sex all the time. That is draining. I don't know how they do it because at some point you have to come off that high. Like at some point you have to think about something else. Like, but to me, like, sex is fun. And in the beginning, yeah, like, hey, sex this, sex that. But once you get to a point where, okay, it's time for something new, like that's like a kid and a new toy. Once you drive your little car that you just got, and those payments start coming in, and the insurance, and you got to get it washed, and time goes by, it's still the same car. However, over time, that prestige feeling of it all has kind of like worn off. And you know that happens with sex too. That can go two ways. You're like, oh, okay, I'm calmed down, chill, new chapter. Or you have some man, okay, let me go find something new. Just depending on where that man is in his life. And yeah, like if that is something that you notice, like with somebody, like they're pent up on sex, like you can't say that they're a sex addict because you don't know. Some of them don't know because most men are against seeing a doctor even in 2021. But like, what you can handle going into a situation. So if you see somebody is all about sex from jump, you have to analyze it in your head. You got to think. You got to be like, okay, all they do is talk about sex. So, do I want this type of person in my life, or do I want to just explore to see where it goes? Like, you have to really do this with your best judgment because, like I said, some people it wears off, and some people they're going to want something else new, and it's going to continue. It's like it's going to be a cycle. It just depends on the man or person that you meet, and what phase of their life they're in. Like, are they in their college years, like where it's party, party, party? Are they a bachelor, like they're in their career, they don't have time for nothing else, so sex is just the only thing that just is available because they're always so busy? Or are they just, going through the motions where they just have a period of, I just want to have sex, and later down the line, it just turns into, affection, something else. But yeah, you just, got to use your best judgment when it comes to that. But if you have any questions for me, you can always text me, ask at 404-737-2822. And that is going to complete today's very first Ask the Azarian. And as always, you can find me on social media at Jazan Azari. And hopefully you'll tune in for the next episode. But until then, peace.